Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my 12 and 13 week pregnancy update. As you can see, we've finally moved. I'm still kind of figuring out the lighting in here, so bear with me, but I just had to sit down and finally film this video for you in between unpacking and all of the other chaotic things that are going on right now. So week 12 was a huge week. I would say it was a big milestone in my pregnancy. We had my Nuchal translucency scan, and I also did my NIPT test at the same time. We also moved, and we're still kind of figuring everything out up here. So week 12, the baby is the size of a plum. It weighs 0.49 ounces, so almost half an ounce, I guess. And right now, or during week 12, you're entering a growth stage, meaning that the baby grows a lot between, I think, weeks 11 and 13. So there's a big growth stage happening. I did notice during week 12 that I did have some mild cramping, which I just associated with, everything growing and stretching, and it was all normal. I actually went 2 days without throwing up during week 12. And I got really excited about it, but sure enough, I did start throwing up again after those 2 days in the morning only, and it's getting less and less intense. I know what to expect. I know I'm going to throw up. It's like not this big deal anymore. And now it's pretty bearable. It's pretty like scheduled, and it's not like it was like weeks 6 and 7 and 8. I was like awful weeks 6, 7, and 8. There's no way you could pay me to go back there. So I had my Nuchal translucency scan, and that was actually a little strange for me. So we saw the baby, and the heart rate was 155, and everything looked great. But for the previous sonogram I had, the baby was moving and kicking and all over the place. And for some reason, during the one important sonogram where they need the baby to lay in a certain way, my baby was like sleeping or something. So they had me, so they couldn't get the baby to lay the way they needed to get the side profile to measure the back of the neck. So they had me roll to one side, cough a little bit. That didn't wake the baby up. I rolled to the other side, cough some more. Still baby wouldn't wake up. So then she took the sonogram machine and pushed down on my stomach and shook it really, really hard. And that made me really upset. I didn't know if she was hurting the baby or upsetting the baby, but I actually talked to a few other people about it, and they said the same thing happened to them. It's completely normal. So if that happens to you during your appointment, don't be alarmed. I guess the baby's really well protected and everything's fine, but it kind of hurt a little bit. And then I could see on the screen every time they were shaking the baby, it would kind of flail and throw its arms up, and I just felt bad, like you're waking a poor little sleeping baby. But that also didn't work. So they had me get up, try going to the bathroom, emptying my bladder, seeing if that helped. And sure enough, when I finally laid back down, I rolled to one side, and then the baby finally got into position. They were able to get what they needed. And my Nuchal translucency scan came back normal, and then they drew my blood for the NIPT. Sorry if I keep looking down, I just have my notes right here on my phone. So the NIPT test. It's been a headache since the beginning. So the NIPT test that I chose to go with, that my doctor recommends, is the Counsel brand. It's spelled COUNSYL. And at first, I had never heard of it. I had heard of maternity, I think Progenity, all these different Verify, all these different other NIPTs. And I figured since I hadn't heard of it, it wasn't as good or as accurate. But it turns out I was really wrong. I guess Counsel is one of the best tests you can do, and it has a really low false positive or false negative rate. And I read a lot about them, and it's a really great lab. So I had my blood drawn on a Monday, and I had heard that Counsel has a pretty quick turnaround time, so I figured I might have results by Friday. And we were planning a big gender reveal. So I live in New York. My husband's family lives in New York. My parents live in Florida, and my whole side of the family is in Florida. So we had planned on doing a balloon pop at the same time and FaceTiming so we could all find out the gender together. And my doctor was going to call my good friend in Florida and let her know what the gender is so she could organize the balloon for my parents. And I was going to just take the sealed envelope to Party City and let them handle it. So because I thought I was going to get my results back really quick, I had tried to see if I could get everyone together that weekend. So I had the test on Monday, and I was like, well, are you guys available Saturday, Sunday? Because it was so last minute, nobody was, and I actually got like irrationally upset about it. And then I had a minute to like realize that it was just my hormones being crazy, and I need to like just relax, and I'll eventually find out the gender. So we decided to just do it the following weekend. So we had it planned for the 30th. And I was like, oh, well, we'll definitely have the results back by then. It won't be rushed. It won't be, like stressful at all. So we set the date for the 30th, and it worked for everybody. It was actually just worked out really well. So I am a crazy person, and I'm tracking my results, the next day, the following day. Tuesday, Wednesday go by. I called council. They still hadn't received my sample. And then I started panicking because I was reading on all the message boards, and I was talking to people, and usually the lab receives the sample the next day. So what ended up happening was, because I live in New York, the council lab is located in California. So my blood work went to one lab in New York, who then sends it out to the lab in California. So my blood work traveled from my doctor's office to the lab in New York, and then from the lab in New York to California. So I had the blood drawn Monday, and my blood work didn't even get to the lab until Friday. So there's no way I would have had my results back. So I'm glad that I stopped being crazy and, just scheduled it for the following weekend. But yeah, so they didn't even get my sample till Friday. And then I started worrying that, the sample wouldn't be as high of a quality because it had been, so many days, and, I was going back and forth, and I was calling counsel, and, it's, being pregnant is just like a whirlwind roller coaster of emotions, and you just overthink everything. And so I was just getting upset, thinking that like I wouldn't get the right results, or like it just wouldn't work, or they wouldn't have the high enough fetal fraction rate in the blood, and I just went overboard. And so I decided to let it go for the weekend. On Monday I called counsel again. They still really couldn't give me an answer. I think I let it go by Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I think Thursday was the day that I called them, and I was like, listen, it's been like 10 or 11 days since I had my blood drawn. I hope you're still not testing it, because they had told me the maximum time they can wait is 7 days to test whatever from the blood draw. So you have 7 days after your blood's drawn that they have to test it for it to be accurate. So I was like, if you're still testing it, it's not going to be accurate. And they were like, no, it's done testing, but the website that you can track it on is just not updating. So I was like, okay. And it was really nice, and I just told the girl like I was worried and everything. And so she put high priority on it, and they rushed it right through, and I got my results on Friday. So Thursday night I couldn't sleep, because then I was like, what are the results going to be? Like, my doctor's going to call me tomorrow. Like, I knew she had the results because they sent it Thursday night, and I was just such a nervous wreck. And so Friday my doctor called me, said all the results came back normal, and they had the sex of the baby, and she was going to put it in a sealed envelope, and I could just go pick it up that day. So I was really excited and relieved that everything was okay, and I was so excited to have my results. And I picked up the envelope, and it was so cute. She wrote, congratulations, it's and then she sealed the envelope so I couldn't open it. So I really only had to wait. I only really had the envelope Friday and Saturday, which was perfect, because I think if I had to wait any longer, I would have like just opened the envelope, because I was so desperate to know. And I'm going to post all about the gender reveal in a separate video. So, but as of now, I do know the sex of the baby, and I'll share with you in the gender reveal video. The other things for week 12, I was waking up really early all week. I don't know if it was because I was nauseous and needed to throw up, or if I'm just kind of developing like a morning insomnia and I just can't sleep anymore. And also and only in the mornings, I get this cough that like won't go away, and it's like a heavy cough, and I don't know if it's like my like gag reflex from wanting to throw up, because it's always like a cough and then I throw up and then I'm good for the rest of the day. It's like always the same pattern, so I don't really know what that is. And the last thing I wrote down was Taco Bell with 4 exclamation marks. Week 12, I think I had Taco Bell 3 times that week. It was like the only thing that kept my stomach settled. And I got a Crunchwrap Supreme, no meat, sub beans, and it's just, your body wants what it wants, and there's no rhyme or reason. I'm not proud of it, but you got to do what you got to do to get through. And then, so now we'll move on to 13 weeks. So 13 weeks, the baby is the size of a lemon. It weighs 0.81 ounces, so it did gain some weight from the previous week. I think towards this point of the pregnancy, the baby just starts growing a lot. You know, everything's already fully formed, so it just needs to grow. Oh my God, my nose. The baby has fingerprints, vocal cords, and is forming teeth underneath their gums, so that's really exciting. My nausea started fading a lot in week 13, but it wasn't fully gone. And it's especially worse at night for some reason still. I did throw up again. I had a couple days where I didn't throw up in week 13, and then, you know, the next day I would throw up. You never know each day. Each day is completely different. I've started kind of nesting a little bit. Like we have so much stuff to unpack because we just moved that, you know, funny enough is that our nursery that we have is basically like our junk room right now, because I feel like we still have time to obviously decorate that and do all that we're putting like all the boxes that we don't know what to do with yet or like unpack yet, and we're putting it all in the baby's room. But other than that, I'm nesting. Like I cleaned like the window sills, and I cleaned like inside like the windows, and I'm doing crazy stuff like that. Still really tired in week 13. I did notice though during week 13, I was finally able to start eating somewhat healthy again. I did have like a salad. I was able to eat quinoa again. It wasn't like how it had been where even like the sight of that would have made me throw up. So it's getting gradually better, and I'm relieved that I'm kind of getting out of it. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like when you're in it, it feels like it's never going to end. So having some relief, even if it's mild, is, I don't know, a breath of fresh air. So I had my gender reveal actually at the very end of week 13. It was actually my day 1 of week 14, and I'm actually going to film that video for that right now. So I'm really excited to share it with you, and be sure to subscribe and like this video so you don't miss any of my updates. I'll see you next time.